people like, oh, it would be so hard to undo all the corruption that exists within the system. No, it's actually relatively easy.
Oh, I need to hear this. How?
It's not America first to set the conditions that will later harm America.
Yeah, just creating new terrorists for the future.
I think that's right. And look, I mean, anybody who is honest and looks at what's happening in Gaza right now has got to be absolutely sickened by it.
That's where the hollow earth theory starts coming in.
Now we have
just provide the other end of that.
Hollow earth is they're
hollow
saying
flat earth.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds.
Have you ever read about the reasons they attacked us? They attack us because we've been over there.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for listening to the Two Doomed Men podcast. It is Scagz here, and I am joined tonight by Mr. G Money, the Samurai, Garrett Goldsberry. What's going on, brother?
What's up, homie? How are you? 2 weeks in a row I got under my belt now.
I know. Yeah, you and Big Luch are the new fixtures on the Two Doomed Men podcast. Big Luch is holding it down for me on the wrestling end of things, and you're holding it down for me on the podcast end of things.
Listen, it's a lot of work. People don't understand it, especially on top of a full-time job and kids and everything else. So we get it. We get it. So I do my best to fill in and help where I can.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I was enjoying last week listening to you and the captain. Even when I can't be here, I still listen to my own show in the background, and I'm like itching to take part in a conversation. I was commenting and trying to be part of it. So it was fun. Good convo last week by you and the captain.
Awesome.
So I thought this week we were supposed to have on Teddy Daniels actually tonight, but there's some sort of storm wherever he lives, knocked out his power.
Yeah, where he is right now, he's down in like the Outer Banks, and I know there's a hurricane coming in because I got a couple of friends down there too, and some people have already they were supposed to go down and they canceled their reservations because of the storm coming in and the surge. So he was like, "Listen, I don't know if I'm gonna have power. I don't know if I'm gonna have internet. It's shaky down there to begin with. So let's just reschedule." So we just did that.
Yeah, so we'll try and get Teddy on future date. Cool dude, really cool background. Having served in Afghanistan, he's got a Purple Heart. Kind of wanted to talk to him a little bit about that. It's always interesting to hear someone's experience having actually served one of these insane wars that we've been participating in the past, 20 plus years, whatever it's been. Now, maybe a good segue here to transition into tonight. Maybe we'll talk about the chance of actually ending a war, something that's rare in American history at this point. Putin and Trump this past weekend on Friday, they had their meeting finally, right? Isn't it pretty wild, bro, that this is the first time that the American president has met Putin since the war started back in
pretty wild.
Yeah. Yep. Nothing like, just two nuclear powers that could possibly obliterate each other off the face of the earth. And the two leaders they didn't speak while Biden was president whatsoever. And this is the first time that they're meeting each other or seeing each other in person, I think, for Trump since 2017 or 2018 or something like that. Mm-hmm. So interesting. I feel like it's also not the first time we've, on this podcast, at least have had an episode called Peace in Ukraine or something about peace in Ukraine.
I think we've had 12.
Yeah. So I'm trying to be realistic here while covering everything as it comes. What did you think in general just about the whole over the weekend Trump meeting with Putin?
I don't know. You saw the flexes he was doing and everything else. But I think, my one take on this is I think they're going to open up that Arctic trade route And I think you got to kind of have a partner with that, especially when they're right on the other side. So I think, as a businessman and as trying to grow the country and do these other things, you got to have a good relationship with them as well, especially if they're going to be up there patrolling it, using it, everything else. So I think that was kind of a big part of that meeting, seeing how they can work together. I know the European Union doesn't want them to work together because they're always supposed to be the buffer, but they forget that, like, we touch on the other side. So I think that was kind of part of the play. And I think that was what a lot of it was talked about,
Yeah, it could be. You made a couple of good points over text that, business deals and stuff like that could be a background part of it. I liked the optics that came out of it, even, being an anti-war guy and thinking that our military industrial complex is insane in of itself. I wasn't exactly the biggest fan of the B-2 bombing of Iran and all that stuff, but that clip that I posted, first of all, I was fucking rock hard patriotic when I saw the video of the B-2 flying over Trump and Putin. But I actually thought that was a pretty good optic / like move, like, I don't know, psychological move in terms of like you're about to go into negotiations with the guy. It's Putin, right? He's all about like being the strong man and the military and all that stuff. So
that's Russian sign of strength and the bear and everything else.
Right. Like understanding that, I thought that was pretty smart by Trump. I also kind of like the idea of like it could both be seen as a sign of respect towards Putin. Like, look, I'm bringing you in kind of with a military welcome, but then at the same time as well, flying the B-2 bomber that was just used against Iran over his head as kind of a reminder of like, hey, buddy, don't forget at the end of the day here as well. Like we're like still top dog for now.
Still the big swinging dick.
Yeah. So like, come sit down at the table with us in good faith, perhaps, and none of this shit needs to get used, right? I've said for years, just because at least me and the captain think that Putin has some legitimate gripes against NATO and the West, doesn't mean he's a good guy. Doesn't mean that he's always a good faith actor or going to be like doing what's in America's best interest. I find it fucking bizarre sometimes. I'm sure you've seen it. People who like will be like, we need to be on Russia's side, or Russia's like the good guy or shit like that. I'm like, no, I don't know. I don't think so. So while we can make, deals and negotiate in good faith, we don't need to like pretend that Putin is a good guy or a good faith actor. The whole
I know. I mean, that's what a lot of people, oh, he's horrible, he's this, he's that. But like in life, you have to deal with people you don't like to maybe possibly get the outcome that you need to have to better your company or your relationship or moving forward. So I think that's kind of like the cards you're dealt with right now, and you got to kind of figure out how to navigate that,
Yeah, always. Yeah, I always got the Game of Thrones quotes, right? It reminds me of the Hound. When he's talking to Sansa and he's like, your father was a killer. I'm a killer. Joffrey's a killer. Everyone's killers in the world. Like, you think your father's a good guy or whatever. He's not. And like, that's the reality of fucking presidents and people in charge of these gigantic countries.
It's a big hat. It's a heavy weight to bear too, when you're trying to look out for everybody else. And like, nobody knows that feeling unless you're like, you've been in that type of seat. Like you can, armchair quarterback it, as they say, as much as possible. But like, until you're in that position where you have 300 million people relying on you and there are other 500 million people, and then the rest of the billion people watching the whole time, that's a big shoes to fill. And it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah. And I think we just came from absolutely. Right. And I'm not like naive or anything like that, but we just came from a place where it was fucking insane. Right. Like I just said, they weren't even speaking to each other. Again, you're talking about like the two biggest nuclear powers in the world are essentially at war with each other, and their leaders are not even speaking to each other. At least we're coming back into a better place now where like there is an open line of discussion, and, God forbid things were to escalate any worse. At least you can talk to each other and try and avoid the worst of what could possibly happen. All throughout the Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union talked to each other all the time. But for some reason now, this past couple of years, they've treated, Putin and Russia worse than the Soviet Union. Soviet Union was objectively way worse than Putin. So I know you said I'm black pilled, and we know in the last episode when you were with the captain, but I'm not black pilled. I'm just
maybe clarify. You're not black pilled on every subject, but a lot of subjects at the moment.
Fair enough. Right. But on this one, I'm pretty white pilled on Trump on this one. I've always felt like he's.
So you're optimistic about this?
I am. I'm optimistic. I got a little bit more. So the second part of that was Zelensky and the crew coming yesterday. Where was it yesterday? And the Europeans to meet with Trump. So I feel like I don't know, you give me your take here as well, but I feel like Trump is the intermediary here almost, or he is trying to be the deal maker,
Yeah.
bridging the gap between the two, because I feel like Zelensky and the EU, they have been like, they are not about it. Like, they do not want to make peace. They are way more aggressive. Trump has been aggressive at times too, but they are way more aggressive.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, that's like I was saying earlier, like they're the buffer in between, right? They've always been the European Union, but they can't exist without our money, a lot of it, right? So, like the NATO, they can't exist without us
Of
paying
course, yeah.
90% of the budget. You know, Ukraine can't fight this war without us funding them and giving them the missiles and everything else. So, of course, they don't want us to like talk to the bad guy on the other side and be like, what's your take? Right. So, I think that's why they kind of had the panic mode. He kind of went in, had his meeting with him and got, okay, this is your side. This is what we're dealing with. This is what I heard. Now I'm going to come in and get all your guys' side that I've been listening to for the past couple months. And then we're going to take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, you use a good word there, the buffer. But I feel like, right, they are supposed to be the buffer between the U.S. and Russia. But I feel like it's actually become the opposite. I feel like now, especially since Trump is president, like we're now the buffer between the EU, you know, Western Europe at least, and Russia. We're now in between, trying to be like, hey, everybody, like, go back to your sides and calm down. Where in the past it was, you know, it was Europe who was trying to like make sure that, you know, the two nuclear powers didn't go to war in Europe against each other and destroy the place. Like, even if you look back at interviews with like Viktor Orban by Tucker Carlson a year or two ago, and that's like the role he kind of serves. He tries to be like he's a European of Hungary. He's the leader. He tries to be in between, be like, look, I want good relations with Russia. I want good relations with the United States. He tries to act like that buffer person. But he's kind of like one of the few in Europe at the moment. I feel like the Western European, you know, nations are fucking bloodlust, you know, warmongering, hungry to go at Russia. And at the same time, I don't know, like, I wonder if that's a product of them being just like brainwashed and fed this liberal warmongering bullshit. Because I've even ran into people, you know, like I a couple months ago, I took a flight to South Carolina for work. And I happened to sit next to a guy who worked for the airline, and I had Scott Horton's Provoked book on my lap. I was about to read it, and the guy asked me about the book. He's like, "Oh, it's interesting." I'm like, "Yeah, it's about the history of Ukraine. I'm trying to, you know, the conflict, trying to like learn about." And he's like, "Oh yeah, you know," he's like, "It's really interesting. I like to look into that stuff too." He's like, you know, I'm from, I forgot where he was from. He was from some Scandinavian country, and he's like, you know, we don't want the Russians breathing down our neck and dictating everything. You know, like all our policy and everything about our country. So my seat then got moved.
Well,
and
that's
I
like
have
that Baltic Arctic trade I was saying.
Yeah,
that's like up there where they, you know, they can kind of come back and forth. So I mean, it does affect them, and they live a lot closer. So I mean, obviously they're going to have a different point of view. Just like if somebody was doing something on the Canadian border or somebody was doing something on the Mexican border, like we would have a lot different point of view of it from there.
Yeah, definitely. I think where we break is that, like, I give a shit about America. I don't care about whatever your problems are in your backyard, right? But of course, like, those little Scandinavian countries want us to be like, you know, us to subsidize their defense and all that stuff. I also kind of think they're a little bit naive. It's like, bro, like, we're dictating your policy. Yeah, sure, Putin isn't at the moment, but like, America is the hegemon. It's the world empire at the moment. Like, we're fucking telling your countries what to do. Maybe you kind of like that a little bit better or something, or maybe you don't even realize that or recognize that. I don't know. So it's interesting, but maybe I could kind of set some of the details here. I got the article from antiwar.com. I'm trying to go to more often lately because it's, you know, I mean, they're anti-war, but at least they're going to give you clean reporting. So it says Trump says he's working to arrange a meeting between Putin and Zelensky. This is the latest. President called Putin after meeting with Zelensky and several. He says Trump said on Monday he was working to arrange a meeting. At the conclusion of the meetings, I called Putin and began the arrangements for a meeting at a location to be determined. Between Putin and Zelensky. Trump said that once Putin and Zelensky meet, he would join them for a three-way talk. After that meeting takes place, we will have a trilat, which would be the two presidents plus myself. Yuri Yushakov, an aide to Putin, said that during the call with Trump, the Russian leader expressed support for direct negotiations between the delegations of Russia and Ukraine. So Putin seems on board. Trump said that one topic of discussion with Zelensky and the EU leaders on Monday was the potential security guarantees Ukraine would receive from Western nations as part of a peace deal, which will likely be a major sticking point in negotiations with Russia. During the meeting, We discussed security guarantees for Ukraine, which guarantees would be provided by the various European countries with a coordination with the United States of America. EU leaders said are calling for a troop deployment to Ukraine to uphold any potential peace deal. When asked if the U.S. would send troops to Ukraine, Trump didn't rule out the idea. I do think that he eventually ruled it out after this was written. Russia's made it clear that he's strongly opposed to the idea of deployment of troops from NATO countries to Ukraine, a position it reiterated Monday. The other major sticking point is the issue of territory. Russia has repeatedly offered to end the war if Ukraine withdraws from the Donbass region and the lines are frozen in the southern Kherson and Zaporizhia oblasts. But Zelensky continues to publicly reject the idea of ceding territory. I have actually a video of him the other day talking about this. Wanted to play it for everybody.
Russia is still unsuccessful in Donetsk region. Putin has been unable to take it for 12 years. And the constitution of Ukraine makes it impossible to give up territory or trade land. Since the territorial issue is so important, it should be discussed only by the leaders of Ukraine and Russia at the trilateral Ukraine, United States, Russia. So far, Russia gives no sign that trilateral will happen. And if Russia refuses, then new sanctions must follow.
Okay. Isn't it funny, bro, how, like, you know, his excuse as to why they can't give up any territory is because it says in their constitution that they can't give up territory. Meanwhile, this fucking guy has been president for like 4 or 5 years now. He's gone beyond his term. Martial law. I just always find it so ironic, I guess, as the anarchist libertarian, that like these people, like, again, we're supposed to be on this holy mission to defend democracy in Ukraine. You know, these guys will hold their sacred texts, right? You know, so literally at times, but then at other times they completely ignore them and throw them away. Yeah. So
well,
that's
even when he was in the meeting with Trump and he was like, "Oh, you didn't have any elections because of war. Like, so if I have a war, I don't have to have any elections." And he kind of like, you know, backhanded him right there.
Yeah.
And like Zelensky was like, "Oh, well, that you like that idea, ha ha ha," and like tried to like kind of brush it off. But like Trump was like, "Oh, so all I have to do is have a war, and we don't need to have elections, and I can be president forever." And he kind of just like put it out there to the world to be like, "Oh, is this a democracy? Oh, well, then everybody's like, well, they're under war. Well, we were under war. We changed presidents and we've done that, you know, so excuse me, are they really like a democracy or not?"
Right. And it goes with any other thing too. Like during COVID, like no one cared about the Constitution anymore. They were just like, whatever, that don't mean shit. We could just make up fucking rules. You know, the governor of New York was literally just making up rules with no authority to do so when people were listening and following to them. So I think just something interesting people should keep in mind here is like these people understand that like those things are just pieces of paper and they don't mean jack shit in reality. They could just violate them at any time. I think I've always tried to stress like people need to understand that as well. I'm not saying like
there's no repercussions at the moment. So like there's no like slap. And if anything, it's a slap on the wrist, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these people are above the law, right? And then the first ones to tell you no president is above the law. Right. Or, you know, no leader, world leader is above the law. Yes, they are. Stop being naive. Stop thinking that they're not. So, again, we were talking about this on the text, but like the deal Putin's offering is that they get to keep Donbass, which is Donetsk, right here.
Right, I'm trying to look. I'm not trying to be a weirdo.
Yeah. It's all right.
It's all good.
Ukraine would have to pull out from what they have maintained so far and give the rest up to Russia. The rest of the front line will be frozen in place. And that's it. Like, that's the end of the war. It's a very simple fucking proposition. If I was Ukraine, I would take it. Those regions are mainly, you know, are mostly Russian speakers anyway. This is what the Civil War has gone back, you know, 2014 about. You could stop thousands and thousands of people from dying by just giving up this one territory, letting Moscow be the administrator of it. Why not if you're Zelensky? Why not if you're Ukraine? And from our point of view, like, do we have to be involved in this shit over that little tiny fucking county in Ukraine? Like, that's worth risking the
it's like we're blowing up the whole county to, like, you know, give up Nassau County.
Right.
You know? It is.
Like, are we going to nuke the whole world over if Connecticut or New York rules over Nassau County? Who gives a fuck? Right? It's the same
I mean,
shit.
we would if it
no matter
was the
what, some
US, we'd be
Slavic
like, you're not
warlord's going to be
taking 1
fucking.
inch, you know? So, I mean, I understand both sides, but like if somebody came in, they're like, oh, just give us Manhattan, we'd be like, fuck you, you know? Like, so I do understand both sides of it and kind of the position that he is put in. Like, does this make me weak? I just let this guy come in, take over all these counties, and now it's his. And what's going to stop him from taking over more? So I could understand that point of view of pushing this way. But if you also look at his point of view from all this, like what's stopping them when they keep saying they're not going to put another missile silo, or they're not going to put another country in NATO, right, or they're not going to push on, and now they're on his border. They're literally on his border, and these guys are fighting to be a part of NATO. Just like, you know, it wasn't supposed to be up top in the Arctic region by like Denmark and all that other stuff, and they've pushed, and now they're NATO members. So you got to understand, he's been getting squeezed from this side for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually have another tweet that I wanted to show. This is by Michael McFowle. If you don't know if you know who Michael McFowle is, he was actually the ambassador to Russia from 2012 to 2014. So during the Maidan coup and the revolution and all that stuff, he's popped up in Scott Horton's Provoked book a lot. Like Scott's written about him, you know, during it. But he tweeted this the other day. He's like, we didn't ask for Stalin's permission to create NATO in 1949. We didn't ask Khrushchev's permission to bring West Germany into NATO in 1955. We didn't ask for Yeltsin's permission to expand NATO in the 90s or Putin's permission in the 2000s. And after these events, Moscow did not invade NATO members. So why are we asking for Putin's blessing now? Illogical. Boy, I mean, doesn't it say all that it has to say right there? Yeah, like you did all of these things that were like antagonistic, that provoked Russia throughout all these years, and you didn't take into account any of their protests, their discussions along the way. And this guy's fucking tweeting, this guy who used to be the ambassador, the guy who was the ambassador during the Ukrainian Revolution in 2014. And he's spinning this as like, you see, this is a good thing, what I'm saying. We shouldn't listen to anything Vladimir Putin has to say. Fuck him. You know, he's only sitting on top of the most nuclear fucking warheads on the planet. I just thought that was pretty wild. It's like one of those accidental admissions, you know? Oh, I think you're muted.
Sorry, yeah, I was.
You're hanging out with the captain too much.
No. It's my interface is a little messed up. So like I was gonna try to private text you, like, dude, I might not have sound in a little bit because it's been like I don't know what happened. It got knocked over. I think one of my kids spilled something on it, so it's kind of on the fret. So I apologize if you guys can't hear me and we kind of go out. But so I'm like kind of have to play with it, mess with it, and keep it going. What were we speaking about? I'm sorry.
Oh, McFowle, the former ambassador to Russia.
Oh, yeah. So
he's tweeting like it's like, yeah, like he's boasting that we have.
Yeah, it's been happening for so long that these people are either think that there's no, like I said, there's no repercussions. They can kind of spew what they have to say. It doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if it's, you know, something that they're, you know, is real, is going to hurt their thing. They kind of just spew it at this point. But it, like you said, it's like an admission of guilt because there's so many things that have been done fucked up on one side for so long. When you do go through the historical figures, like it does kind of like, it kind of like shows your hand, you know?
Yeah, it does. Especially when it's being said by people who were like part of it at the time, right? Again, like the beef here, so put yourself in Russia's shoes. You know, they have perceived NATO's expansion as a threat to them, and NATO exists, as Michael McFowle said it, you know, to counter the Soviet Union and Russia. You know, and we've inched closer and closer. You know, you mentioned before, like, you know, the you know, Germany and all that stuff. Like, there were so many promises over the years made, you know, or at least discussions. I know they'll even debate, like, if there were promises, there weren't like deals made. It's like, yeah, but like, you know, you're fucking talking to, you know, your adversary, you know, and you're trying to have a good relationship with them, and you're portraying it as like you're coming in good faith and you're going to avoid war, and you're telling them, look, we're not going to do, if you let us do this, if you let us reunify Germany, we won't push any further past Germany, you know. And again, reading Scott's book, it's so fucking funny, dude, because at the time when they were discussing reunifying Germany with the Russians, you know, they fear-mongered the Russians. They were like, look, man, it's better if we're going to reunify the Germans if like we get to rule over them, as opposed to like there being three powers in Europe. Like, in a sense, like, aren't you guys scared the Nazis are going to come back, or a reunified Germany is going to be like, you know, stronger and a counterforce to you? So it's best you let them reunify and come into NATO fully under our thumb, because we're going to work with you. You know, like, how, again, like, keeping all that shit in mind, how the fuck do you think that the Russians are going to feel about how they've been like dog walked all these years, or constantly?
Yeah, I mean, this has been done since, like you said, like the Cold War. Like they just keep moving the line. Like Berlin Wall was the line, and now this line is on their doorstep. You know, how many years later? I mean, we were kids when the Berlin Wall went down in the 80s, right? So, you know, in the past 40 years, they've walked it every decade, and now he's in this position once again, and he's like, I'm not backing down.
Yeah.
And like you can't really blame them if you're realistically, like, objectively looking from it. Like I've made this argument, like, remember the Cuban Missile Crisis? We're pretty pissed about that. Imagine it was on the, you know, on the Mexico border, we'd be pretty pissed about that. Canadian border, Hawaii, whatever it was, we'd be pretty pissed about it. So you gotta give a little grace when you're talking about these things, you know?
Yeah, we did the same shit. Literally, we fucking blockaded Cuba when we found out that Soviet Union, Russia was putting nuclear weapons in there. We tried to invade Cuba with the Bay of Pigs thing. You know, we threatened to fucking go to nuclear war over them putting. I forgot how long the Cuban Missile Crisis was, but like, again, maybe people forget about this shit, but the Cuban Missile Crisis is like kind of similar to this. The Soviet Union was putting nuclear missiles in Cuba, right next to America. Yeah. Essentially what we are trying to do in Ukraine, which is put NATO, our weapons and things right next to Russia. And we said, no, we will go to war to fucking prevent this from happening, which is exactly what Vladimir Putin has done. We didn't actually end up officially going to war and committing our own, like, you know, uniformed soldiers into it, but we sent the Navy to blockade the island, you know, and not allow any ships or anything in until the Soviets backed down. And thank God they did, because they've, you know, they could have been like, no, fuck it, we're just going to go to war or whatever, you know. And again, like, cooler heads prevailed. People spoke. They hashed out their differences.
Well, there's a lot on the line, right?
This thing.
There's a lot on the line.
Yeah.
All our lives.
Yes.
I mean, that's pretty important. Our children's lives, the rest of the world's lives. Like, I mean, it makes sense to have peace. And I don't, you know, I mean, the other fucking problem I have a lot of times is like the people that call for this war wouldn't even be able to fight their own fucking fist fight. Of course. It drives me insane. I posted something the other day. Like, I don't even know if it's still up. I'll see if I can find it. But like, it's always the people talking the most shit that have never been in a fucking fight in their life or never dealt with real violence in their life. Now, I'm not saying like I'm a cop, military, whatever, but like I've been fist fighting my whole life and training guys how to fist fight. So I've seen like real violence. You know what I'm saying? And it's like one of those things where it's the Lindsey Grahams, no kids, no nothing, calling for fucking all this shit all the time. And it's like, bro, how about you call for this shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, how is it something that, like, you know, you should be getting into? I don't have it on my phone. I had it on, I guess it went away on my story, but you know, like, you know, if you don't have the ability to create violence, then you're not peaceful. You're harmless. You know what I'm saying? And that's the biggest deal, is like people mistake that. Like I see a lot of these, especially liberal people, like, oh yeah, rah, rah, rah. And it's like, bro, you can't fight your way out of a paper bag. Why you sending my kids over there to do it for you? Because I taught them how to do it, how I'm training them how to do it. Like, no, my kids aren't going to fight for themselves. They're not going to fight for fucking your family because you want to fucking expand the border or fucking flick somebody in the nuts that has a nuclear code on them. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So it just makes more sense for all of us to be peaceful. And like, the other thing is like, I don't know about you, but like, I have friends that are Russian. They're great fucking people. Yeah, they're a good time.
Yeah.
My Polish friends, good time. You know, Eastern European people, they're good times. Like, I have a lot of friends through training and everything that are all from those descents, man. And like, obviously the Soviet Union wasn't the fucking best thing, you know, like we all know that. But at the end of the day, we're all people.
Yeah.
And they're not that different from us. Like we say all the time, the governments are fighting with each other, but they're using us as the pawns.
Of course,
until we figure that out, and we don't allow that to happen anymore. You know, we're going to be constantly in this situation of, oh, let's go fight the war. Let's go do this. Oh, let's go do that. A bunch of rich old people who can't fight no more are sending all my young kids to go fight, and all our sons and daughters. Like, no, it's done. I think the people are waking up to it too. And it's like, we just want peace, man. Where's war getting us besides, oh, it gets us more lands? Like, we all have our lands. We all have our districts. We all have our stuff. Let's prosper in our districts and let's get along.
Again, it doesn't even actually get you more land, right? Like, that's another like false equivalency. Like, everybody would be like, it's going to get Russia more land. Are any like Russian people going to really benefit from them taking the Donbass? No, right? Like, who's going to benefit? Like the regime in Moscow.
Russian controlled at one point, so those people are like Russians that live in those regions that Ukraine took over. So it's really like just getting their people back.
Yeah, it's in a sense, they would rather be ruled by Moscow than Kyiv, the people in that. It's not like they're going to
Well, the
don't
level,
think.
I mean, the corruption, and that's what nobody's talking about too with like Ukraine, like the level of corruption that they have been exposed, and everybody just forgets like Joe Biden, Hunter Biden having Burisma in there. Everybody forgets all the billions of dollars and all their equivalent of senators getting caught going over the border with millions of dollars in briefcases and having their shoe boxes filled with $1 billion fucking dollars. Everything else, like all these people getting caught, they all have their own French villas, they all have their own yachts.
Their
If you're
bunkers
the Secretary of State
in
over
New
there,
Zealand.
their own
Yeah.
bunkers, but like, let's keep them more money, and they're just hurting so bad, you know.
Yeah.
Once again, none of this shit happens if we turn off the fucking money faucet.
I know, right?
They'd quit real quick.
Yeah.
They would quit real quick. Europe would quit real quick.
Right.
Ukraine would quit real quick. Like, the only reason these people are allowed to do this is off of our backs. Like, you know, your check where you see those taxes coming out of each week, that's going over there, guys.
Well, it's not even that. It's again like it's the magic money printer.
It is
that
though.
they have,
It's the magic
right?
money pool.
If they didn't have that, if they didn't just have a cheat code like in GTA where you used to push up, down, left, right, whatever, and then you just get unlimited ammo or unlimited money, and then you could go on a crazy. Yeah, back in the PlayStation 1 days, you go on a
PlayStation. I'm talking about Nintendo, bro.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, but I played in the Dreamcast one, the PlayStation one. But like, you remember, then you could go on like a crazy endless killing spree in GTA because you just had unlimited funds. It's the same fucking shit.
Reload. Yeah,
right. If the only way the government at least made money was only by taxing us, they'd be hard capped at like how much money they could get to then spend.
Well, if they didn't have the magic machine just sending it out. Well,
I'm saying
what's wild to me too about taxes, right? Not to get off track, but like they have a massive printing machine, and then they're like, "Yeah, you got to pay it back with interest."
Right.
Where are you getting it from? I'm just hitting print, but you guys,
it's the worst of all worlds. But again, like if they didn't have the magic money printing machine, and they actually had to like tax us the total amount accordingly in order to fund this crazy shit that they want to do, they'd be overthrown immediately. Like if they're we're gonna give trillions of dollars to Ukraine to fight this war to throw people into a fucking meat grinder of death, before you know it, the meat grinder of death is going to turn around and start facing them, right? Because people are not going to want to pay for that. But because they have this money laundering scheme where they could just magically print money, and then then the effects are felt through inflation and things like that later. It's an easier way for it to get like the population to stomach it. Or to put up with it, you know?
Yeah.
It's fucking gross. And it accomplishes just the worst things. Like, why couldn't, if we're going to do shit like that, could we do like science or go like figure out the flat earth or go like, study the stars? Like, if we're going to use the magic money, you know what I'm saying? Like,
to the moon, like,
that would be at least a less.
We would have so much more money to do fun activities.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we could use the magic money printer for fun shit.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if everybody reeled it back and we pulled it together, like we could like really find cool shit out. But once again, that goes back to control. Because if we really started to finding shit out, they would be like, "Oh no, we don't have the control anymore." They realize there's more land out there. Oh, there is more resources. What do we fight over all the time? Fucking energy, minerals, resources. But if there was another 20,000 countries out there that had oil flowing like rivers and everything else, we'd be like, oh, we don't have to be as like so hard pressed. Like, oh, it's a bigger atmosphere. We don't have to worry about the greenhouse gases as much. Like, obviously, nobody wants fucking pollution. We all want to drink healthy water. We want our food not to be vaccine. We want everything else. But like, imagine if we knew there was more out there. Everything would fall apart. And that was always and like, I know we always say like, oh, flat earth, like this, whatever, right? But like, it's not like, it's like outer, like Asgard, like this, like it's outer. It's not up, it's outer, right? But like, how big of the world point of view would change if we weren't controlled by resources? Yeah. There's not enough gold. There's not enough silver. There's not enough lithium. There's not enough oil, fossil food, whatever it is, right? Everything that we like invade countries for, try to get it back. But now all of a sudden we're like, well, there's about 50 more things the size of Africa out there.
Yeah,
that maybe. We could get to.
I still bring it back to the fact that though, is it part of?
I'm just saying, like, what do they control us by?
Right,
resources.
Resources. Right, but even if there were just more resources outside of the zone, it would still happen. Like I do think that to a certain extent we're still just monkeys that are fighting each other, just more
1,000%. But I think it would also be a giant blow to their credibility, right? Like they're telling us it's this, just like they told us COVID, just like they told us this. Like every other narrative that we've just us, me and you, two stupid fucking chips, right? Have figured out in the past 5 years that we're like, what the fuck? Like, imagine you like, I don't want to say it too loud because I have kids. So if you have kids, get your kids out of the room. Get your kids out of the room right now. Okay. But like it's the adult equivalent finding out Santa Claus isn't real. Because then you go, fuck. Neither is the Easter Bunny. Shit. Tooth Fairy's fake. Fuck. Like you start going down the list. Leprechauns, god damn it.
The Constitution?
I lost St. Patty's Day. Come on,
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's how it is, man.
Yeah. It's funny because you're what it is you're saying here, even in the way that I view space, still applies. Like,
yes.
Okay, so don't forget about the flat Earth. I know what you're saying, that like there's just space region, there's more regions out,
general.
but like there's still stuff in space. There's resources. Like let's go back to like the I don't know what you want to call it, like the commonly understood view of the Earth and space.
Yes.
There's other planets. Like I'm sure there's oil on them. There's resources. In theory, we could fucking go to them and harvest them and bring them back here to use them. So it's like it's the same exact thing. Is that the problem would still come back to the fact that we're like advanced territorial apes, right? And we're gonna fucking now. That doesn't mean we can't get better, like at things. We have become better, I think, in my opinion. Like we have capability to destroy on a larger scale, but I feel like we live in a more safer time in general than we used to. Like people better fed. People like I don't know at any for the most part,
right?
What's that?
It's probably, even though with all the chaos and all the information overload and all that other stuff we deal with all the time, like it's the safest time we've ever.
Yes, on the grand, if you could chart it out on a grand scale of time, like for the most part, at any given moment, there is not a gang, like a bunch of guys that are coming over the hill in my house and going to kill me and my whole family. I mean, like that's why I left the Bronx, because that could happen over there, but it ain't going to happen over here, or at least everywhere. Like again, the law of averages or whatever. So I don't know, dude. So just to circle back, I mean, what do you think is going to be the outcome of all this? You think they actually are going to make a deal here and the war will end? You think it'll go south? What do you think? What's your take?
I mean, I think it's got to end eventually because it's really not going anywhere and it's pretty stagnant. And I think both sides really want it to end. But, you know, they're Eastern European or, you know, whatever you want to go, you know, machismo for them. Their bravado won't allow them to back down. So if Trump kind of comes in and says, okay, we're making a truce, they're like, well, we had to make a truce with Trump. You know, it's not like we backed down. We got what we wanted. And it's like, oh, we didn't back down. We would have kept fighting. But the Americans, you know, they wanted us to be able to work with them. I think it's an easy way out for both of them, really. Like Trump's fucking crazy. He might turn off the thing and start nuking Russia, like, or he might, you know, he might turn off the money pit to Ukraine, or he might say, "Fuck it, me and Russia are hanging out together. Fuck you, Ukraine, and we'll take all your minerals that you didn't want to sign over to us."
Yeah,
I mean, he's that wild card.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, and that's what I've said from like the jump. Like, love him or hate him, he's a fucking wild card, man. It's like
he definitely
double,
is.
triple, reverse Uno, wild card. This thing, like it's just like spitting at you like Gambit, right?
Yeah, on one day he might be gargling Benjamin Netanyahu's balls, and the other he might be chewing him out to the press, right? Like you never know what it could be.
Well, that's the whole thing too, like right? Like he does a lot of shit that I know me and you don't agree with, right? Because we talk about it all the time. But then he'll turn around and be like, "Feet to fire," in front of the whole world, you know. Yeah. Like, did you see, not to get off topic, but I mean, it has to go with this. Did you see them all lined up in that grand hall? And it looks,
that was actually fake. That was an AI generated.
Oh, was it? I was like, holy shit, that's some fucking balls out of
it. You know how people figured out? There was an extra set of legs in the photo.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, good. Debunked us right here. But did you also see how he had everybody set up around his desk?
Yes. Yeah, that was real. That was an interesting.
That was real, right? So, like, I know I said the photo, but like what I was getting at, whether it was real or fake, like he's looking at him like he would do something like that.
Yeah,
he'd be like, "Oh, not a great day," and then you're in a room full of people that probably helped try to assassinate you.
Right. It's
like not the best day, guys.
The principal's office. Yeah.
Yes, but then you bring them all into your office, and you're like,
"Right,
up, players?
Yeah,
girl's gonna do for me right now." Because now you're on my turf. You're sitting here. Like, nobody puts the president of the United States in a row like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Right, exactly.
But I do also appreciate, like, hey, I talked to him. I'm bringing you guys all in, so I don't have to fucking repeat myself. This is what happened. This way, nobody gets it misconstrued and say, Trump told me this, Trump told me that in this meeting, Trump told me this. I'm sitting all 12 of you motherfuckers down, and we're going to go over this so nobody can misconstrue. I'm going to tell you how it is, and then you can go talk amongst yourselves and figure out how we're going to get a solution for this. But this is my plan of attack. This is what we're talking about. This is how much more money we're going to say we're going to give you if we're not going to give you. And if you don't, and if you guys don't want to do it, we're not going to give you the money.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point, dude.
And
I feel like that's probably what was going on.
I got about 4 minutes, Scagz.
You got 4 minutes?
About that.
Okay. Yeah, that was an interesting photo there. This is the one that we're talking about where he had everybody in there. I get a sense that that's exactly what was going on here, that he basically is like, look, I spoke with Putin. Here's what he wants to do. Here's what I think we should do. And here's what we're going to do now. I'm going to talk to you all in person. I'm giving you that, that respect. Here's, go back to your countries now. And, do what we got to do. But this is what we're going to fucking do. The fighting's over. If not, then, no more money's coming from us or something like that. I hope that's what he did. Right.
Well, it's that leverage. It's also like, let's bring it back to the Epstein files. Is he holding leverage that way? Like we talked about.
I hope so. I don't think so, but I hope so.
I'm not saying it's it, but I'm just saying, what do we usually do here? Throw shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Exactly.
Right. So I'm not saying it, not conspiracing it, but like it is an option on the table because some government's been using it for quite some time.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that gets overlooked.
They do use it. They do.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing that gets overlooked. Like everybody talks, the blackmail, the Israel, whatever it is. We obviously all know something happened because we're all asking for it. I mean, it's the only thing that the Republicans, Libertarians, and Democrats all fucking agree on. Like, just give us the truth. Give us the truth, right? Everybody's asking for it and they're not. But like they gathered that intelligence and blackmail for a reason. So it's like the biggest political nuclear weapon on the planet, right? Because anybody that's on it, I mean, the Democrats think Trump's on it, so they want it now. But I don't understand why Biden wouldn't have released it, like, over the past 4 years of his control, right? And then nobody wants it out there because they're all fucking involved. But I'm not just saying it's like our politicians. I'm saying it's other world leaders. So just think about like a very Christian nation, like
Russia.
Russia. Let's say Orthodox Christian.
Yeah.
Imagine they just started dropping nukes of like their Secretary of State banging little kids, Putin, like whoever it was, let's just say, right? Or like who else is a very, let's say, Christian state that's over there? Isn't Ukraine kind of very Christian state, Orthodox Christian?
Yeah, I mean Italy is a very Christian state. Yeah.
Okay, and now you got their congressman and their head of the NSA equivalent, and those people are fucking on it. Like, bro, that's a hard.
Right, and you want to get Giorgia Meloni, Italy, on board with the peace deal.
Which I think she's gangster as shit. I like her. You like her?
Yeah, I like her. I also think she just goes along with whatever Europe wants. Like she's against all the woke shit, but like when it comes to the the neoliberal world order, she just
from over there, Scagz.
Yeah,
that's. I mean, I'm not saying that's the problem,
better than
like she has to live with those people.
Yeah, right.
That's what I'm coming back down to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you got to survive with those people. So it's like, all right, like, okay, we're over here. Like, all right, I'm gonna make nice with Connecticut and New York because we have to share the same fucking roads.
Sure.
But like, I'm not down with your, story hour bullshit, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's her equivalent until she gains more power and traction, and then I think she'll come in swinging the hammer.
Maybe we'll see. I do like her.
Not right away, but I think it's a good start.
So I know you got to go. So I'll kind of wrap it up with my last thought or point I wanted to make. So I do think that they'll probably work something out. At least I hope they are. And I do feel like we're moving in that direction, that we're close. Like next couple of weeks, they'll probably have these meetings and they'll hammer something out. And I think no one will get everything that they want. So no one will be happy. And those are the best deals.
That's a true negotiation.
Yes, those are the best deals
where both sides aren't completely happy because you both had to give.
Yep. And what I hope happens now, this is pie in the sky. What I hope happens is that we finally put to bed this bullshit narrative from World War II that everyone is sold, right? That everyone is Hitler. The only lesson from history you are allowed to learn is that appeasement doesn't work and you're Neville Chamberlain. And the only answer is that you have to immediately go to war and kill everyone who possibly opposes you in any sort of measure. I'm hoping that
power through strength.
Right, like that bullshit, right? Like they're telling you the only.
I mean, it's not wrong, but there's other ways.
There's other
You
ways.
guys got to understand.
This is a way. What I'm saying is, I hope that this now sets a new kind of like propaganda through history standard, right? Where like, look,
raise the bar a little bit. Like we didn't have to come in slinging sledgehammers and nukes and all that stuff. We were actually able to like be adults and talk about this.
Yes, and like Donald Trump could be the hero of that. Like, look, this guy, came in and he set the new standard. Where like, look, we have these differences, but we go to one side, we hear what they have to say. We go to the other side, we hear what they say. And then we no one gets everything what they want, but everybody gets a little bit of what they want. And we could resolve our differences like that in the future, as opposed to like regime change, world wars, B-2 bombers, possible nuclear war.
But at the same, hold on. I got it, but I agree with you. But at the same point, we have like fucking submarines and everything off the coast of Venezuela.
Yeah, I
so
know.
It's
right?
like
that's funny. I wanted to bring
I don't
that
know
up,
if it's like the slide of hand move. You know what I'm saying? Like we're so focused over here, and like his agenda there is regime change, right? He said he's not he's not the real, which he might not be, because I know in Brazil they totally fucked him. I train with a lot of Brazilians. I know a lot of Brazilians. Like they all love that other Brazilian Trump. Everybody loved them. Right.
Yeah.
And that I mean, a fucking criminal, they got him out of jail and made him president. Like he was in jail for like drug trafficking in Brazil and they got him out. Right. Yeah. Crazy. Right. I think we've talked about this. Right.
Yep.
So, but like Venezuela, I think the same thing has happened. Like he's literally being protected by like drug lords right now. Like they're like, no, you can't come in. We're making the cocaine, but he's having it out there. And I mean, Venezuela, like what was the guy before him? What was his name? Do you remember him? I could see his face in my head. I just forgot his name.
It's Maduro now. I feel like Maduro has been there for a long time. I don't remember off the top of my head who was there before him.
That's what I thought, but it looks like a different guy that was in there. Whoever it was, but I mean, Venezuela was one of the most oil-rich countries.
Oh yeah.
Everything else, it was like the jewel of South America.
My grandfather immigrated to Venezuela before he immigrated to the United States from Italy, because that was the place to go as well. Yeah, he went to go work on the oil rigs and shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so like it was this jewel. And I mean, socialism took in. I mean, how many more
case studies do we need? Yeah,
especially you young folk, man. Like, how many more real life case studies do you need to see that this shit does not work? And realistically, I know it's going to sound bad, but like, democracy doesn't even work 90% of the time. It's got to be the constitutional republic, the way we do it. That is the best model that anybody's figured out of all of time so far, right? That we would say, unless
and something even you said before. It also has to go with something you said before. It has to be an agreement, however, amongst like-minded people with a similar culture. Otherwise, it doesn't work, right? Like if you do start importing,
and that's why it worked for a long time, because it was a Christian nation, and now it's.
I've come to appreciate that much more the past couple of years. Like if we just import trillions of Muslims over here, then we're gonna have Sharia law.
And then everybody's like, oh, well, you two fucks were imported. Yeah, but like my family's been here before it's a country. Like I've literally done my line. Like we got here in like the fucking 1600s, right? So yeah, there was natives before us, everything else, right? And there was war, and there's conquest, and there was takeover, and there was business deals. Louisiana purchase, this purchase, that purchase. Alaska, we bought that from Russia. Everybody forgets that for like pennies on the dollar, right? So
good deal.
Yeah, well, I mean, we paid them back for, I think, like fighting with us in the Civil War or some shit. I got to look into that though. Like we owed them money because they were funding us to or like. Oh
yeah, I saw Sam Tripoli talking about that recently.
Yeah. So I know they were doing something like that. You guys could look into it a little bit more, but I just think it's a little funny. But I'm happy that me and Scagz are a little bit optimist this week, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Not total black-pilled.
No, not total black pill. I'm not totally black pilled. I'm just.
I know you're not. I said subjectly. I'm subjectively black pilled on a lot of stuff, but I still have the white pills.
Trump hyped me up when the administration first started. When he was like, we're gonna like cut everything, cut this. And I'm like, wow.
You're like, whoa,
yeah, this is great. And then it's like, oh yeah, that was all bullshit. We're not doing any of that. So
like,
and then
dog lipstick container.
Epstein was the then like the. We're gonna give the Epstein files out. The first one. Remember when we came on here furious after?
Oh, yeah.
So that was that's what got my hopes up, and then I was immediately
think that they're
let down. So that's why I feel the way I feel. Sorry.
I still think they're gonna have to come out eventually, whether it's gonna be what we want or what they fucking spoon feed us. They're gonna have to release something at this point because the whole country's calling for them.
Well, yeah, the people still are, but they have pivoted the news cycle, fury away from it now. And to be honest with you, like,
and we are getting shadow banned again.
Oh yeah,
under
absolutely.
Trump. I am heavily shadow banned. They're taking followers from me. They're showing my I got almost 45,000 followers. 300 people are seeing my stories. 25 likes on something where like usually we get thousands. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, all of our own content, is immediately. So
anything original content that we do, they're like, "Fuck these guys!" Click.
Right, but when I post like the news story stuff, that gets like tens of thousands of views sometimes.
I know.
But
I'm thinking we should open up Sergeant and Samurai again, possibly. And even if it's just
it,
me and you doing the podcast, it hasn't been tagged in so long. We might be able.
We have to start it from scratch, though. Like you have to create a new channel, new everything.
Think so?
Yeah, like you could keep the branding and all this shit the same, but you can't. Those old channels are like burned,
We're only around on. We're not even on YouTube. We're not on Spotify. They kicked us off, so the only thing we were
saying, got to start over.
Was Apple and Rumble. So, but
I'm all for it, dude. Let's get Steven off the bench too. Let's get him back in.
You know how he is. His vagina hurts half the time.
All right, I think we'll end it there because I know you got to run. Why don't you plug everything you want to plug, and then let's sign off.
Hey man, just if you can go give me a follow over at my IG, Garrett Colesbury, my name. Help me break the shadow ban. I mean, I'm always posting wild, crazy shit, but it's funny too. So go check it out. And that's about it. I mean, catch me on Two Dude Men because that's pretty much where I roll and hang out now. And give them a file. Also subscribe, guys. Hit it again. If you think you're subscribed, go check because they unsubscribe you guys from us. They're literally
on YouTube. They're removing. Go to Rumble. YouTube, go follow us there. Go on Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. We will be doing an episode next week. It will be a wrestling episode. Big Luch and the Captain will be back. We'll be doing a Clash in Paris preview, just talking all things wrestling, and then we'll be streaming Clash in Paris live on Sunday the 31st at 2:00 in the afternoon.
And we will have Teddy Daniels on once the hurricane passes.
We'll figure that out.
We'll keep that out. All right, later, kids.
Goodbye.